The Sky shooting 38%. Caitlin Clark, another three-pointer. 6 threes on the night.
Caitlin Clark took her seat at the podium, still buzzing from a game that had the crowd on fire and commentators out of words. She fielded the usual questions with grace, discussing her strategy, her teammates, and her unstoppable performance. But then, just as the session was wrapping up, a reporter shattered the moment with a comment no one expected. It wasn't a question, it was a bombshell. The room fell silent. Clark froze. Her expression said it all. So, what exactly was said, and why did it leave her speechless? Let's break it down. Stephen A. Smith's public confession to Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever, had just pulled off a stunning 94-87 win over the reigning champs, the Las Vegas Aces, right on their home court at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. It wasn't just any win, it was a statement. And leading that statement once again was rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. Her performance was nothing short of electric. The numbers read like something straight out of a video game. 28 points on a scorching 11 of 18 from the field, including 6 deep threes, 12 assists, 5 rebounds, and just 2 turnovers across 38 relentless minutes. This win wasn't just about padding stats, it shoved Indiana firmly into playoff position with only a few weeks left in the season, turning heads across the league. The building buzzed with energy even after the final whistle. Reporters packed into the post-game press room. Cameras clicked in a steady rhythm, and the air felt charged, like something unexpected was brewing. Clark arrived at the podium poised and focused, answering the usual wave of questions with her now signature mix of humility and intensity. ESPN's Holly Rowe kicked things off with a question about Clark's developing on-court chemistry with Aaliyah Boston, specifically their lethal pick-and-roll execution, which carved up the Aces' defense for 18 points in the paint. Clark smiled, visibly relaxed, and said, "The trust is really building. Aaliyah's been patient while I adjust to the speed of the pro game. Tonight felt like we were reading each other's minds." But then an unexpected shift. From the front row, Stephen A. Smith, the ever-vocal, ever-passionate ESPN commentator known for his firebrand opinions and TV theatrics, finally raised his hand. Until now, he'd been unusually quiet, observing rather than dominating, which was rare for someone with his presence. Clark, spotting him, nodded. "Stephen A. Go ahead," she said. He rose slowly. No wild gestures, no booming voice, just a heavy, contemplative silence. His tone didn't match his brand. It was softer, deeper, almost weighty. The room shifted, the cameras refocused, typing stopped. Even the Fever's PR staff froze mid-step. "Caitlin," he began, "I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've covered every type of player you can imagine. Rookies, legends, disappointments. I've built a career calling out athletes when they don't meet expectations. It's how I make a living. But watching you this season, watching how you've handled the pressure, the hype, the learning curve, it made me rethink some things." He paused, rubbing his face in what looked like genuine emotion. "This wasn't a show. There's something I've needed to say, publicly and frankly, something I need to apologize for." The entire room stood still. Then came the question. Not a challenge, but a confession dressed as a query. "How do you maintain such grace and focus when people like me, especially me, have at times been unfair, overly critical, even wrong about your transition to the WNBA?" Silence. Caitlin Clark, so often calm under pressure, stood stunned. The player who had battled screaming, road crowds, intense Final Four matchups, and relentless comparisons to her college stats suddenly found herself speechless. She opened her mouth, then paused. Her hands, which had moved confidently while answering earlier questions, now lay still on the podium. "Wow," she finally whispered, I don't even know what to say." Kelsey Mitchell and Alyssa Smith, already halfway down the hallway to the team bus, stopped and turned back, sensing the weight of what was happening. It was a rare, unfiltered moment in professional sports, a star athlete caught completely off guard, not by a tough question, but by an unexpected act of humility and respect. Her voice returned, shaky but steady. "Stephen A., that means more than you probably realize. Yes, it's been tough, the criticism, the comparisons, the doubts. But it pushed me to work harder, to prove I belong, not just to the league but to myself, to my team. She paused again, this time not from shock, but reflection. What Stephen A. said next pushed that vulnerable moment even further, leaving even the most experienced reporters speechless. So, what exactly did he reveal? Keep watching to find out. Stephen A. Smith drops another bombshell confession about Caitlin Clark. Stephen A. Smith sat still, his expression uncharacteristically serious. Then, with a steady hand, he reached inside his blazer and pulled out a few folded sheets of paper. They weren't typed or polished, these were handwritten, raw and real. It was clear that what was about to unfold hadn't been improvised. This wasn't just another sports take, it was something deeper, a reckoning, and everyone in the room could feel it. There's something I need to say, Smith began, his voice quieter than usual. And I need to say it in public because I criticized someone in public. I've made comments that weren't entirely fair or even fully informed, and now I need to name them. He glanced at the papers, then looked straight ahead and began to read. 3 months ago, on First Take, I said Caitlin Clark was overhyped. I accused ESPN and our industry of inflating her popularity just to boost ratings. I said she had a long way to go, that she hadn't proven herself. That college greatness didn't mean she could handle the pros. His words echoed in the press room. A few reporters had put their phones down. Clark's Indiana teammates, Aaliyah Boston and Erica Wheeler, stood quietly at the back. They weren't there to make a statement. They were simply present, drawn in by the unexpected emotion unraveling in front of them. Smith continued, I framed my argument with stats and logic, but my tone, my delivery, it was dismissive. I overlooked what she'd already done, how she'd changed the entire atmosphere around the WNBA in just a few short weeks. Now Smith's voice grew steadier, louder, more deliberate. Here's what I've learned since. Caitlin Clark is averaging 19.5 points and 8.4 assists per game in her rookie season. Diana Taurasi only averaged 17 points her rookie year. Sue Bird? Just 14.4. Clark's numbers aren't just good, they're historic. He didn't stop at the stats. When Indiana plays, attendance spikes nearly 50%. TV ratings? They've tripled, and her jersey sales? Up over 200%. But beyond the business side, it's her attitude, her poise, the way she credits her teammates before herself, the way she shows up for this league, day after day. The room seemed frozen. Even seasoned reporters didn't type, they listened. The emotion in Smith's voice was impossible to ignore. I was wrong about you, Caitlin. Wrong to question your readiness, wrong to doubt your impact. I held you to outdated standards, and for that, I owe you, the league, and our audience a sincere apology. That's when the room shifted. Flashbulbs went off like fireworks. Reporters. Surprise letter. But who wrote it, and what did it reveal that left Caitlin fighting back tears? Stay glued to your screen. The letter that silenced the room. Stephen A. Smith had already stunned the room with a heartfelt public apology, but what came next silenced even the most seasoned reporters. He slowly sat back down, the room still buzzing with emotion, and reached once again into the inside pocket of his jacket. This time, he pulled out a small, creased piece of paper, worn at the folds like it had been handled many times, kept close for reasons beyond professional duty. There's something else I need to say, he began, his voice softer now, touched with something deeper. This might be the most important part of all, Caitlin. This is from my daughter. A hushed murmur spread across the room. He paused, then continued. Her name's Maya. She's 12, plays basketball at her middle school back in New York. She's been following your journey since your junior year at Iowa. A few months ago, around the same time I was criticizing your move to the pros, she wrote you something, a letter. She made me swear that if I ever got the chance to meet you in person, I'd give it to you. Smith rose from his chair and slowly approached the podium, the tiny note in his outstretched hand. Caitlin Clark, visibly moved, accepted it with a soft, thank you. Her fingers carefully unfolding the fragile paper, as though it held more than just words, as though it held truth. Her eyes scanned the letter. At first, she seemed curious, but quickly, her face shifted. Surprise, then emotion, then the kind of heartfelt connection that's hard to describe. Her eyes glistened, her lips curved into a smile, small but sincere. She blinked, trying to steady herself. "Would you mind if I read some of this out loud?" she asked gently. Smith nodded without hesitation, gesturing for her to go ahead. "I think everyone needs to hear it," Clark added, her voice tightening just slightly with emotion. She read, "Dear Caitlin Clark, my name is Maya Smith, and I'm 12 years old. My dad is Stephen A. Smith. He talks about basketball on TV sometimes, but he also says mean things about athletes. I think you're amazing, and I think he's wrong about you most of the time." The room erupted into laughter. Even Smith couldn't help but chuckle, rubbing the back of his neck as if to say, "Yeah, I had that coming." Clark continued, "You make me want to practice my three-pointers every day after school. You make me believe girls can be strong, competitive, and still be ourselves. You show me it's okay to be confident and go after big dreams." She paused, clearly touched. Then came the kicker. P.S. My dad doesn't know as much about basketball as he thinks he does.
But don't tell him I said that.
Love, Maya Smith. Laughter exploded again. Pure, unscripted joy. And applause followed. Even the most serious reporters clapped. Someone even whistled. Stephen A. Smith grinned, shaking his head. She's absolutely right about that last part. What began as a moment of apology had transformed into something else. Real connection, honesty, and even a little humility from the most opinionated voice in sports media. Despite the past criticism from Smith, she's also earned high praise. But from who exactly? And why did their words carry so much weight? Stay tuned to find out. Caitlin Clark praised as the heart of the Fever's rise. Caitlin Clark's standout performance against the Dallas Wings once again proved why she's one of the WNBA's brightest stars. With 28 points, 12 assists, and 4 rebounds, she led the Indiana Fever with a commanding double-double. Her ability to balance scoring and passing showcased not just skill, but complete control. Teammate Aaliyah Boston praised Clark's unselfish play, noting how she constantly looks to involve others, boosting the team's chemistry.